It all started at what was supposed to be a peaceful ladies' brunch, just mimosas, laughter, and good vibes. Until Bambi leaned over the table, sipped her drink slowly, and whispered something that made Sierra choke on her avocado toast. "Girl, you're not ready for what Spice has been doing behind the scenes." And just like that, the floodgates opened. Secrets that were meant to stay buried came pouring out, leaving every woman at that table wide-eyed and speechless. The cameras didn't catch the first few minutes, but once they did, oh, it was on. Sierra, with her signature side-eye, backed it up with receipts. And Bambi? Let's just say she came armed with screenshots and a whole lot of pent-up emotion. Fans are shocked at what's been revealed: allegations of betrayal, jealousy, and fake friendships that go deeper than anyone imagined. And when Spice finally walked in late, not knowing her name had been dragged through an entire brunch, the tension could have cut glass. But that's not even the half of it. Back on the other side of Atlanta, Jock was caught pacing outside Frost Bistro, phone in hand, visibly frustrated. Word on the street was that Mendeecees had gotten into another messy situation, and this one, let's just say it was big enough to threaten the Frost family brand. Kirk tried to stay cool, but Jock had had enough. "You better fix this before it blows back on all of us," he warned, voice rising. "This ain't just love and hip-hop drama anymore. This is real life." From secret flings and financial scandals to divided loyalties and screaming matches that had to be edited down, season 13 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is not holding back. And in the center of it all, Bambi, Sierra, Spice, Jock, Kirk, and a very mysterious text message that could flip everything upside down. So what exactly did Bambi and Sierra reveal? What's the real reason Jock is dragging Kirk into Mendeecees' chaos? And is this the end of Spice's reign as queen of the ATL scene? Keep watching, because the tea is boiling, the shade is lethal, and no one is walking away unscathed. It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon, just another episode in the glammed-up world of Atlanta's elite. But what unraveled that day shook every cast member to the core. The ladies' brunch was held at a luxury rooftop venue, complete with white roses, gold-plated cutlery, and a menu curated by a celebrity chef, but no one remembered the food. All eyes were on Bambi and Sierra, who had taken their seats early, their energy unusually tense. Bambi looked exhausted but alert, as if something heavy had been sitting on her chest for weeks. Sierra, never one to shy away from drama, was trying to play it cool, but her freshly done nails tapped restlessly on the champagne glass in front of her. When the cameras started rolling and the other ladies filtered in, Carly, Red, Erica, and even Shekinah, the mood was light, playful, even giddy. But then, mid-laugh, Bambi's tone changed. "You know what I'm tired of? People acting like they're your friend when they out here plotting against you." Everyone at the table froze. No one said a word, but the glances that shot around were loaded. Sierra slowly turned toward her, as if giving her one last chance to backpedal. But Bambi leaned forward, voice icy. "I'm talking about Spice." A collective gasp rang through the group. Even Carly stopped chewing. Erica raised an eyebrow, her face unreadable. "Wait, what about Spice?" Sierra finally broke the silence, but the damage was done. Bambi was just getting started. She pulled out her phone, opened her gallery, and slid it across the table. To Sierra, "That's from 2 weeks ago. Spice said she was out of town, right? That she couldn't make it to my launch party? Look where she was." Sierra's eyes widened as she zoomed in on the photo. Spice was clearly in Atlanta, hugged up with a rival designer who had publicly thrown shade at Bambi's brand. "I don't even know what to say," Sierra muttered, sliding the phone back. "That's just foul." Bambi nodded. "And that's not all. She's been deeming people I work with, talking crazy, trying to sabotage deals, asking questions she don't need to be asking. She's not supporting, she's spying." The table erupted. Carly jumped in. "Hold up. You mean to tell me Spice out here pretending to support you but really trying to mess up your bag?" Bambi didn't flinch. "I'm telling you what I know, not what I heard." Sierra, now emboldened, added, "And she's been saying stuff about you too, Carly. Like how you're too old to be in the scene anymore, that you're thirsty for camera time." Carly's eyes narrowed, her whole posture shifting. "She said that?" Bambi nodded again. "And I wasn't even gonna say nothing. But if we're keeping it real today, she also said you were messy and washed up, Sierra. That your salon ain't even making money and you should have stayed in aesthetic school. That was the final straw. Sierra stood up, shaking her head in disbelief. See, I done defended her too many times. When people came at her about that song, when they dragged her online, I always said she real. But now I'm seeing she fake as hell. Just then, the elevator doors opened and in walked Spice late, as usual, wearing sunglasses indoors and with the air of a queen who knows everyone will notice her. She strutted toward the table, pausing when she sensed a shift in energy. "Why y'all so quiet?" she asked, pulling off her glasses slowly. "Somebody die?" No one answered. Bambi crossed her arms, Sierra stared daggers, and Carly started packing up her purse. Spice narrowed her eyes, sensing the storm. "What's going on?" she asked again, more cautiously this time. Bambi was the first to speak. "We were just talking about loyalty, about how some people pretend to be your friend while they run behind your back trying to ruin you." Spice raised an eyebrow. "You talking about me?" Sierra stood up fully now. "You know damn well we are. Why you lying about being out of town? Why you cozying up with people who hate on Bambi's line? Why you coming for my salon when I always had your back?" Spice looked genuinely confused for a moment, then scoffed. "Y'all been drinking too much. I don't need to explain myself to people who jump to conclusions off screenshots and gossip." But Bambi wasn't letting her off the hook that easy. "Then tell me why my deal with Femiglow fell through right after you DM'd their head of marketing with concerns about my brand." Spice's jaw clenched. "That had nothing to do with you. I had my own reasons to talk to them." Bambi leaned in. "But you didn't mention it to me, your friend. You let me walk into that meeting thinking it was locked in, knowing you had already planted doubt." The energy grew tenser with every second. Erica looked like she was ready to leave. Carly was already halfway out. And even Shekinah, usually loud and dramatic, was silently watching like she was witnessing a train crash in slow motion. "You fake," Sierra said finally. "You been moving dirty for a minute, and we let it slide 'cause you're Spice. And we love you. But nah, not no more." Spice stood her ground. "So this what we doing? Ganging up on me 'cause you're insecure?" Bambi's voice dropped dangerously low. "Nah, we just tired of pretending." Meanwhile, downtown at Frost Bistro, another storm was brewing, one that had nothing to do with brunch and everything to do with Mendeecees. Jock was pacing outside, phone glued to his ear, clearly mid-argument. "Bro, I don't care what she said, you can be pulling up at people's events and causing scenes. This ain't New York, this Atlanta. You mess with the wrong person here, they gonna come for all of us." Inside, Kirk sat at the bar, sipping from a nearly empty glass, rubbing his temples like he already regretted picking up Jock's call. "That morning, I told him," Kirk muttered to Rashida, who sat beside him in full glam but clearly over it. "I told Mendeecees don't bring that New York energy down here." "But did he listen?" "No," Rashida sighed. "What exactly did he do?" Jock threw up his hands, frustrated. "He showed up at that film premiere Spice was hosting, uninvited, and tried to confront her about that old interview she did last season. She clowned him in front of everybody. He tried to walk up on stage. The security got involved, and now there's footage floating online. TMZ already sniffing around." Kirk groaned. "Damn." Jock nodded. "Yeah, and guess who's being blamed? Us. 'Cause we vouched for him to even be in this season." Rashida's voice sharpened. "Wait, you vouched for him?" Jock turned to Kirk, fuming. "Nah, we did. Me and you. Don't act brand new now." Kirk put his drink down, finally standing up. All right, I'll talk to him. But he's grown, Jock. I can't hold his hand." Jock didn't budge. "You better. 'Cause if Mona drops him, and it costs us ratings, that affects everybody's check. And I'm not losing my bag because Mendeecees don't know how to act in public." Kirk nodded slowly. "I'll handle it tonight." And with that, he grabbed his phone and walked out the side door, dialing as he went. But little did any of them know Mendeecees had already planned his next move. A move that was about to drag even more people into the fire. Exactly where the chaos left off, with Kirk trying to reach Mendeecees while heading to a quiet spot in his SUV. The ringtone echoed a few times before the line connected, and Mendeecees answered casually. "Yo, What's good? Kirk didn't waste time with pleasantries. What's good, bro? What the hell are you doing out here starting drama at Spice's premiere? You trying to get dropped from the whole damn season? Mendeecees sighed, clearly annoyed. Man, you know she been throwing shade since last year. I just wanted to check her on it. Kirk's voice rose. You wanted to check her? You did it on camera, at her event, uninvited. You think that's gonna make you look like a boss? It makes all of us look like clowns. There was a brief silence before Mendeecees responded. She disrespected my name. I ain't about to let that slide. Kirk pinched the bridge of his nose, trying to stay calm. You being messy, not boss. And now Jock out here losing his mind. Cause guess what, TMZ got footage. They already dragging all of us, saying the franchise is spiraling. Rashida's furious. Even Mona called asking what the hell is going on. Back at the brunch spot, Spice had stormed out minutes earlier, and tension still hung in the air. Bambi, Sierra, and Carly lingered, their appetite long gone but their anger still simmering. She really walked out like she ain't just get caught, Carly muttered. Sierra responded, I'm done. This ain't no misunderstanding, this is a pattern. Every time one of us doing well, she got something shady to say. Bambi leaned back, exhaling sharply. She made me feel paranoid for weeks, like I was overthinking. But nah, she was moving grimy the whole time. Shekinah finally spoke up. Y'all better be careful though. Spice is still Spice. She's got a fan base, and she don't forget stuff like this. You might have lit a fire you can't put out. Bambi looked her dead in the eye. Let it burn. But while the ladies were licking their wounds and planning their next moves, Spice was already plotting a power play of her own. Within an hour, she was at her manager's office, pacing furiously, her blue hair wrapped tightly in a silk scarf. They tried to humiliate me on camera. Bambi? Sierra? Carly? They ain't got no loyalty. I built this franchise. Her manager nodded cautiously. We'll do damage control. Drop some behind-the-scenes footage. Twist the narrative. Remind people who you are. Spice's eyes narrowed. And I want Sierra's salon shut down. We'll hit her where it hurts. The manager looked stunned. You serious? Spice nodded slowly. Dead serious. Back on the other end of town, Jock was pacing again, this time in his home studio, where Scrappy had just pulled up. Bro, I don't know what's going on, but it feels like this season ain't about love or hip-hop. It's just chaos. Jock laughed bitterly. You think? Mendeecees out here fighting ghosts, Spice turning on her day ones, and now Carly talking about dropping out. Scrappy's eyes widened. For real? Jock nodded. She called Mona last night. Said she feels disrespected, like the whole show's turning into a smear campaign. Scrappy leaned back, whistling. Damn, you think Mona really gonna let her go? Jock shrugged. Mona don't play. If you bring drama, you stay. If you cry and run, you out. It's ratings or nothing. Meanwhile, Kirk finally caught up with Mendeecees face-to-face later that evening. They met at a quiet lounge Kirk often used for business meetings. No cameras, no noise. Kirk came in straight-faced, Mendeecees sipping on a drink already like, he didn't just set Atlanta on fire. You trying to mess up everyone's bag, or just your own? Kirk asked. Mendeecees chuckled. You act like I care about cameras more than my name. Kirk leaned in, his tone low but sharp. You should. This ain't Harlem. This ATL. People got businesses out here. Families. You come stirring drama in public. You make us targets. Mendeecees sighed. Alright, so what you want me to do? Kirk paused. Apologize. On camera. Make it look like a misunderstanding. Clean this up before it snowballs. And you're gonna have to sit down with Spice. Mendeecees looked like he'd rather fight a lion. Spice? After what she said. Kirk nodded. Yep, you caused it. You fix it, or Jock walks. Rashida walks. Hell, I walk. Mendeecees hesitated, but finally muttered, fine, set it up. But things didn't cool down. Instead, they exploded further. Spice caught wind that Mendeecees wanted to meet and immediately went live on Instagram, her voice trembling with fury. First they tried to drag me at brunch. Then they want to talk things out? Nah, I ain't no pawn in nobody's storyline. If you come for me, you better come correct, cause I'm not the one. Within minutes, the comments flooded in. Hashtag Team Spice started trending, but not everyone was on her side. Fans were divided. Some believed Bambi and Sierra had finally revealed what many suspected, that Spice was ruthless and only loyal to her own spotlight. Others argued the girls were jealous, using a private beef to humiliate Spice on camera. The division among fans became so loud, Mona Scott-Young herself made a surprise appearance during a confessional shoot the next day, walking into the studio unannounced. The room went silent. "We need to talk," she said, addressing all of them: Bambi, Sierra, Carly, Jock, Kirk, Mendeecees, even Shekinah, who was just there for snacks. Mona closed the door, dropped her clipboard, and crossed her arms. "I've seen a lot of seasons, but this right here, this is different. The streets are buzzing, and not in a good way. So let me make this clear: if y'all don't fix this mess fast, I will." The cast looked stunned. No one dared to interrupt. Mona pointed directly at Kirk. "You brought Mendeecees in. You better reel him in." Then to Bambi and Sierra: "If y'all got beef with Spice, air it out in a way that sells, not one that tears down the entire platform." And finally, she turned to Spice. "You got power, but power misused, it backfires." The room remained silent as Mona picked up her clipboard and walked out, heels clicking like a metronome of judgment. As the door closed, Jock muttered, "Well, damn, Mama Mona ain't playing this season." But Bambi wasn't done. "So what now? We pretend to get along?" Sierra shook her head. "No, we confront her again, but this time, we do it at the reunion shoot. All of us. No filter, no escape." And with that, the stage was set, not just for a confrontation but for a war. Just days before the reunion taping, and the energy across Atlanta is combustible. Social media is ablaze. Fans are dissecting every word of Bambi's brunch revelations, analyzing every second of Spice's Instagram live, and theorizing what might go down next. In the middle of the frenzy, Sierra gets a DM that nearly makes her drop her phone. It's from someone anonymous, but the screenshots attached are undeniable. It's a group chat where Spice, weeks earlier, had allegedly been plotting a PR takedown of both Sierra's beauty line and Bambi's fashion collab. "Let them think we cool," one message read. "Then we hit them where it hurts business and brand." Sierra's heart dropped. She immediately screenshotted the thread, called Bambi, and said breathlessly, "Sis, you ain't gonna believe this. We were never imagining things." She really been playing chess. Bambi's voice cracked through the phone, raw with a mix of fury and vindication. "Then we airing it all at the reunion. She wants a war. We giving her one." Meanwhile, Spice was doing her own prep. Her team was crafting a redemption narrative claiming jealousy, manipulation, and fake alliances were being used against her. She hired a crisis PR expert to polish her storyline, even dropping a teaser for a new single that conveniently mirrored her real-life conflict. Lyrics like "Queens don't beg for crumbs, they build their own throne" had fans buzzing that she was ready to clap back musically and personally. But behind the glam and posts, Spice was shaken. Her public image, once powerful and unshakable, was showing cracks. Comments like "I used to stan you, but this is too messy," and "you switched up on your day ones" were piling up, and her once loyal fanbase had begun to splinter. Elsewhere, Jock was trying to keep the peace, or at least salvage what little unity was left. He invited Mendeecees, Kirk, and Scrappy to his home for a boys-only sit-down. The vibe was tense but necessary. "This ain't just TV anymore," Jock said, pouring drinks. "This is business. And it's spiraling. We all grown men. We got kids watching. Let's set an example, or at least not torch the whole brand." Mendeecees, who'd been unusually quiet, finally spoke. "I'll apologize. Not because I'm wrong, but because I'm tired of being right and losing people anyway." Kirk nodded. "That's mature. But it can't just be you. We need the ladies to do the same or none of this sticks." Scrappy leaned in. "Y'all think Bambi gone let it go? You know her. She ain't backing down." Jock sighed. "She will, if she sees it benefits her more than holding onto the grudge." Backstage at the reunion shoot, everything was pristine. Cameras everywhere. Champagne on ice. But the air was thick, not with glamour, but with tension that could slice through diamonds. Mona had given strict orders. Let it play out, but keep it professional. I want emotion, not destruction. The cast slowly arrived one by one. Bambi in a sleek red gown that said power and precision. Sierra, calm but cold, wearing a crown like braids and an expression that warned everyone. Don't try me. Carly strutted in with visible nerves but highlighter so sharp it could blind betrayal. Jock was suited up like he was attending both a funeral and a courtroom. And then, Spice, dressed in an electric blue bodysuit, hair cascading down to her waist, flanked by her assistant and stylist, chin high like a queen entering her last battle. The host wasted no time. Let's talk about the brunch. Bambi, you started it. What was going through your mind that day? Bambi didn't flinch. Truth. I was done playing polite with people who were secretly trying to kill my career. I had proof, and I gave it. That's it. The host turned to Spice. Spice, care to respond? Spice gave a cold smile. Everything I did or didn't do was out of self-protection. These women love to play victim when they don't get validation from me. Sierra cut in. It ain't about validation. It's about loyalty. You played us. Period. The shouting started. Quick. Fingers pointed. Words like snake, fraud, and jealous echoed across the set. Security hovered nearby. Mona watched from the shadows like a puppet master, letting the chaos build just enough. But the real twist came when Sierra pulled out her phone. Remember this group chat? She said, voice calm but deadly. Because I got receipts now. You weren't just being shady. You were actively planning our downfall. She threw her phone on the center couch where the live camera could catch every message. The audience, staff, and even Spice froze. Spice snatched the phone and scrolled, her face drained of color. This ain't real, she muttered, but no one was buying it. It's from your verified account, Bambi said. Don't play dumb now. Spice tried to compose herself. You don't know the full context. But it was too late. The internet had already clipped that moment, and within minutes, #SpiceExposed was trending. Even Jock, who had vowed to stay neutral, chimed in. Y'all, this is the kind of stuff that makes us all look bad. We came from nothing, and we building something, and then we tear it down cause we can't handle each other's shine. Carly, for once, agreed. It's always the women that gotta pick up the pieces, but now the whole show about to collapse. Spice, suddenly looking smaller than usual, said quietly, I didn't mean for it to go this far. The host asked, so will you apologize? The room held its breath. Even Mona leaned forward slightly. Spice looked at Bambi, then Sierra. I'm sorry for the betrayal, for the sneakiness, for being a coward instead of a friend. The room remained tense, but the apology hit deep. Bambi didn't respond immediately, but her eyes softened. Sierra blinked twice, holding back something between relief and sadness. It was a crack in the wall, not full forgiveness, but something that sounded like the beginning of an end. What no one expected, though, was what happened next. Before they could move on, a production assistant ran onto the set, whispering something urgently to the director. The cameras kept rolling. The host looked confused. Then, without warning, the director called, cut, and the screen on set switched to a live social media feed, and what they saw would change the course of the entire season. The entire cast turned their heads toward the massive screen as the feed loaded. It was an Instagram live, not from a fan or a gossip blog, but from Jasmine, the woman who had once nearly destroyed Kirk and Rashida's marriage. Her face filled the screen, slick with emotion, eyes wide, voice trembling as she addressed over 40,000 live viewers and climbing. I wasn't gonna do this, she began, but since everyone wanna expose each other and act like the angels, let's talk about what really been going on behind closed doors. The reunion stage froze. Rashida's body stiffened. Kirk's mouth went dry. Jock whispered, oh, hell no, under his breath. Mendeecees looked confused. Even Spice, who had just apologized moments earlier, leaned forward, sensing something bigger was about to break. Jasmine continued, Kirk, you remember that weekend in Miami last month? When Rashida said y'all were taking a break? Yeah, I was there. And guess who else showed up uninvited, acted a fool, and tried to keep it under wraps? She turned the camera slightly, revealing blurry footage of Mendeecees in a heated argument at the bar, and then unmistakably Kirk appearing in the background, trying to defuse it. The comments exploded. The live feed ballooned to 60,000 viewers in under 2 minutes. On stage, Rashida stood up, trembling. "Tell me that ain't real, Kirk. Tell me." Kirk looked stunned. "That's not what it looks like. I wasn't with her. I was just trying to keep things from getting worse." But Jasmine wasn't finished. And guess who paid for that trip? Jock. Yup. He booked the Airbnb under his assistant's name. Thought nobody would find out. But now, I'm done protecting y'all. Jock turned white as a sheet. No, this ain't what you think." Bambi stood up now, holding her head. "Y'all, this is getting insane. We came here to talk about Spice and now this?" Sierra looked at the crew. "Cut the damn cameras. This ain't even about the show anymore." But Mona had already stepped into view, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "Keep filming. You don't stop a storm halfway through. Let the truth come out." Suddenly, Mendeecees stood. "Okay, enough. Jasmine, I don't know why you dragging me into this. You had your moment. You ain't part of this show no more. Go clout chase somewhere else." But Jasmine fired back. "Still alive. Clout? Please. I got screenshots too. You wanna talk about that little text you sent me last week, trying to meet off camera to smooth things over?" The room gasped. Rashida looked like she was about to collapse. The host tried to salvage order. "Let's take a break," but Mona snapped. "No breaks. No edits. Let it burn." The reunion spiraled. Every cast member was now under fire. Sierra whispered to Bambi, "This ain't no reunion, it's an exorcism." Carly had tears in her eyes. "I tried to be good this season. I stayed out of mess. Why am I being punished too?" Spice was pacing. "See? Y'all were too busy blaming me, and the real snakes were in y'all own garden." Jock, visibly sweating, turned to Kirk. "Tell me you didn't go back to Jasmine, man. Tell me we ain't about to lose everything again." Kirk stammered. "I didn't. I mean, not like that." Back on the screen, Jasmine ended the live abruptly, not before throwing one final dagger. "Don't worry. I got more. And if Mona don't cut me a check, Zeus Network already offered me one." The feed ended. Silence fell over the set. Everyone was shaken. Rashida quietly removed her mic pack and left the stage, ignoring Kirk's pleas behind her. The sound of her heels clicking down the hallway echoed through the stunned silence. Mona stood center stage now, cold and composed. This is what happens when secrets simmer for too long. They boil over. And the audience? They love a good explosion. But remember this, every truth you hide eventually finds a mic. This reunion might be the most viral thing we've ever shot. But don't forget, some of y'all careers won't survive it. And with that, she turned and walked off. What followed was pure chaos behind the scenes. Rashida locked herself in her trailer, refusing to film. Kirk called her phone 10 times to no answer. Jock tried to speak with production to limit his on-camera time, but Mona's team denied the request. Bambi cried in the hallway, not from guilt but exhaustion. "I thought dragging Spice was the worst thing we'd face this season," she whispered. "But this feels like the end." Sierra tried to console her, but even she looked shaken. "We didn't even get to finish the receipts on Spice. Now we the ones under fire." Later that night, a private cast meeting was held at a secured location, no cameras, no crew, just the core members and Mona. "What y'all want?" Mona asked bluntly. "We wrap this season with closure or we leave it open and chaotic, knowing millions will tune in but your lives will never be the same." Jock, for once, spoke first. "We close it. We face it. All of it." Mendeecees nodded. "I'll do the sit down. With Spice. With whoever." Kirk, almost whispering, said, "If Rashida'll let me." Bambi and Sierra, still emotionally raw, nodded silently. Spice stood last. "I'll come clean too, but I want a full segment. My story. My side. No edits." Mona smiled. "Done. But just know once the final cut airs, there's no going back." And just like that, the agreement was made. The next day, filming resumed. Not on the reunion stage, but in one-on-one interviews, raw and unfiltered. Rashida finally returned. Her energy quiet but deadly. She said only one thing when asked about Kirk. "You either grow up, or you lose everything you ever loved." Kirk cried for the first time on camera. Jock admitted his role in covering for Kirk and expressed regret. Mendeecees finally explained the real reason he confronted Spice: a business deal gone sour, not a personal vendetta. Spice, alone in a studio chair, cried too. I lost myself chasing an image, and now I don't even know who my real friends are. In the final scene of the season, all of them were gathered at a peace dinner. No glam, no makeup, no extras, just rawness. There was laughter, some tension, but mostly silence. Sometimes silence says more than any speech. As the camera zoomed out, Mona's voice narrated the final words. In Atlanta, truth don't hide forever. It dances in shadows until the lights come on. And once it's out, there's no going back.